I treat saving just like learning a new skill. It gets easier and more fun over time and the more that you do it. As you start to learn new habits, discipline, how to organize and manage your money, and also how to negotiate, you will probably find that your savings growth will grow at a rate that will probably be higher than what you thought originally possible. Here's some motivation to get you started on your journey. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Reece, and in today's video, I'm going to be doing an update or a follow on from the video I made about how much I saved last year, being 2020. In this video, I'm going to be talking about what my savings goals for 2021 are, and I'm going to talk about how I intend to achieve them. As a recap, because I know you're lazy and you probably either haven't seen the video for a while, don't remember the number, or haven't watched it, I saved last year in 2020 across my 3 very specific savings accounts, which I'm saving for a specific goal, $41,126. So just quickly as a reference, I'm not including things like my bills account, my everyday spending account, and my holiday account. Why? Because I can spend from those accounts freely and those numbers can fluctuate throughout the year. In the video I made about my savings from 2020, I didn't include them either. They were specifically against my savings accounts, being my emergency fund, my house account, and my investments. Because realistically, if I wanted to fly overseas tomorrow and COVID wasn't stopping me from doing that, I would be able to do that and money would be coming out of those accounts for me to do that. So I don't count them. The last thing I just want to mention is, before I get into the juicy stuff, is that I'm counting or talking when I say savings from the 1st of January to the 31st of December being the first day and the last day of 2021. So just the same as last year, I'm going to be setting goals for my 3 savings accounts, being my investment account, which I use to buy cryptocurrencies and shares on the ASX within Australia and other platforms if I'm investing in shares overseas. My emergency fund, as I think it's an important thing to save for, and I think that even if you hit your thresholds, it's worth keeping the habit of just consistently depositing the same amount of money into. And finally, my house account, being I'm looking to buy a house to live in forever, and that needs a fairly sizable deposit, and that's what I'm currently saving towards. Let's start with investments. So last year I set the goal to put a minimum of $5,000 into the share market and $5,000 into cryptocurrency. This year, I'm upping that as I actually achieved that goal and had a little bit left over. So I'm setting a minimum benchmark of $12,000 this year, which might not seem like a lot more money to put into something like that. But when you see how I'm increasing all of the things across all of my savings accounts, you'll understand why it's only a short jump for that minimum. It's not to say that I can't put more, but that as a minimum is what I need to split between crypto and shares. And the way that it gets split this year, I'm not putting a hard rule of 5,000 in each or 6,000 in each if you just divide it down the middle. I'm going to strategically put money into shares that I think will do well, EFTs for the long term, and cryptocurrency. Look, it's incredibly volatile at the moment, but it's something that I still think is worth holding at least some money in. Cryptocurrency actually was one of the best performing assets I held last year. I made over 100% return on 2 of the investments I made, bringing me quite a significant amount of money, which was a great feeling. So it's something that I'm definitely going to continue to invest in over time. And I'm going to probably dollar cost average into it now. I'm not going to put large chunks into it straight away. So if you want to understand what dollar cost averaging is, definitely check out the video I have made. I've left a link in the description below. On top of that as well, if you're interested in what cryptos I'm actually in, I have made videos about cryptocurrency as well, so check them out too. There will be more coming in the future as I start to get more heavily involved into that space. So how do I intend to do this? So context first, at the moment with my current setup, I'm putting about 25% of my salary into my bills account. Now I capped that at $3,000. I'm currently putting more into my bills account than I need to for my current expenses. And what I'm doing with one of the ways to build up this money to invest is once I hit that $3,000 threshold, every dollar over that, I just withdraw that. Every time I get paid, whatever's left over and stick it into an account, keep track of it. And when it hits $5,000, I invest, whether it be crypto or on the share market. That's how I build the savings for this. And that's how I'm intending to do it this year, as I'm able to do it through this method. In the future, that will change, but for now, that's how I'm doing it. So the next goal for savings for 2021 is for my emergency fund. Last year, I was putting about $25 per fortnight into that account. And towards the end of the year, I upped it to about $50 per fortnight because I saw the value in doing that long term. Now, I'm intending to put $1,350 at a minimum benchmark this year into that account. And if you do the math, 1,350 divided by 50 gives you 27. What does the 27 signify? That's the number of pays I will receive this year, because we have an extra fortnight this year, or an extra pay cycle this year. And realistically, I'm going to get that number to $1,350 minimum. Currently, my emergency fund is sitting at about $4,500, so I'm expecting that number to probably get to $6,000 by the end of the year. I'll probably top it up with some money that I get from a bonus, maybe from some overtime, but the goal overall is to have $1,350 at a minimum, $6,000 in the account by the end of the year. It should be achievable, and that will be a tick in that box when I do my review in 2022. Okay, and now the juicy account, the one that you really want to hear about because it's got the big numbers. Well, they're big numbers for me anyway. My house account. How much money am I intending to put into my house account in 2021? Well, last year the number was $35,698 off the top of my head, which is about $690 per week, which is a substantial amount of money. So that will be my minimum bar that I set. I will set it at $36,000 as the goal for me to take my money that I get paid each week and work it out in a way that allows me to put it into my bank account to hit that $36,000 goal. I'm going to be a bit ambitious here and say I'm going to try and get that to actually $45,000. If I don't get there, doesn't matter as long as I get to $36,000. But $45,000 is the high-end goal of that account that I'm going to try and achieve. That works out to roughly about $850 per week putting into that account. That is a lot of money. That is an ambitious goal. Is it achievable? Is it possible? I don't know, but I'm going to give it a crack. And when I come back to this video to review myself in 2022 to see how I did, who knows? Did I get there? Let's find out. Now, obviously through my own income and living situation, this might be a little bit difficult to do. I am earning in the six figures, but only low six figures when you really look at all my income sources. So one of my goals outside of the actual savings amounts for this year will be to bring in income through other sources. Now, there are lots of methods that I could be doing this. I'm going to touch on some in this video, but I might actually make another video about these topics for the future about how you can bring in income through other sources. So like that like button and subscribe button if you want to see that content when it eventually does come out. It really does help the channel as well, and I appreciate it, and I had to slip it in there. I don't feel guilty for doing it. Anyway, overall, across those three accounts, I've kind of set the limit at about 50 grand to be saved at the minimum. Realistically, I'm hoping that that gets a little bit closer to $60,000 by the end of the year, and that's with all of my ambitious goals being achieved. Now, I have done some calculations to work out roughly what my expenses throughout the year are going to be and where I'm going to be getting money from and how much I'm roughly going to take home by the end of the year. So I have a pretty good indication, and that's why I've kind of set these levels again, knowing that they are relatively achievable and I should be able to get there. So some planning has gone into it. I do want to kind of stress that I'm not just pulling numbers out of thin air. I've thought about the process and how I'm going to achieve it. I also just wanted to touch on this as well and say that I'm setting these goals based on my own living situation, what I'm bringing in from my job. They are completely and utterly dependent on my whole situation. The $60,000, that's the number I've set because I feel comfortable that I'm going to be able to achieve that. A little bit uncomfortable, but I should be able to achieve it. This is where I leave you with some information, I'll call it wisdom, and that is that the number doesn't mean anything in the aspect of things. It's not important. It's the fact that you set yourself a goal, and I encourage you to, that is achievable for you and your living situation, with the outcome being you having learned some discipline, habit building, money management, and potentially budgeting. And the outcome, the overall outcome, is having those skills, but also having some cash or money in a savings account or wherever you put it that is going to benefit you in the future. What you do with it, I don't care, but the fact that you're able to save it is so important, and it's such a good skill to have. I hope the breakdown I gave in today's video was useful. If you enjoyed it, please consider liking and subscribing. It really does help the channel grow, and I appreciate any support that you are able to give me. On top of that, smash those goals, set them and then smash them. It's so important. You will see the long-term benefits, and I guarantee you'll come back in a year's time and be super happy with the results if you actually give it a real go. I'm gonna leave it there. See you in the next video.